Payday is a video game about a crew labeled the good guys. They rob banks, cook meth, steal nuclear warheads, and kill dozens of cops and civilians in the process.
The police in this represent a corrupt government. And in reality, the bad guys are really the good guys.
Oh, Robin Hoods.
It's the only game where a punk girl can rob the fucking White House with a large spoon while wearing a suit straight out of Peaky Blinders with a stupidly large beanie hat. Payday has consumed a good amount of my life, which I could have spent better. And believe me, this number, these stats, they are absolutely nothing compared to an average Payday player.
A bullet head, a rich man.
1.5 million for this abomination? Look at this shitty mask, it's 1.5 million.
Every bit of hope I had to turn my life around once Payday 2 dies was banished when the sequel was announced. It's a never-ending cycle of pain. Gentlemen and ladies, I'm here to announce that Starbreeze was apparently inspired by the live-action adaptation of The Witcher, The Last of Us, Halo, and wait, what about the Halo show inspired you exactly?
What the hell is this?
They thought that Payday, the game, isn't consuming enough time and decided to officially develop a live-action covering Payday 3. Oh god. Believe it or not, this isn't the first time Payday made a grand appearance in the world of cinema. Payday 2 used to have its own web series back then. Just the word web before series implies that it's shit. It wasn't very loyal to the source material, to be honest. I wanted to see a ex-military heister committing literal manslaughter while sipping on alcohol to not feel pain. But they decided to shift directions to cover more drama rather than action. It was simultaneously the most fun and disgustingly ugly 7 episodes I've ever seen. It wasn't even so bad that it was good. No, it was straight up the worst thing I've ever laid my eyes on. It screams that the budget for this series was less than $10. The fucking masks look like the shit you'd come across on Amazon to buy for your little cousin or something. And I know that they could have done better because they eventually did upgrade them. And the visual effects, what is that blood? They implemented such masterpiece dialogues.
Robbing banks with your friends is fun. Especially the ones that have been robbing the people blind.
There are 2 types of criminals. The ones who get caught, and the ones who don't.
You think this is a joke? I got dead bodies in my bank and a fucking federal agent up my ass.
Is she? Really?
There wasn't really that much, payday going on. We saw a total of 1 heist, and that was supposedly the First World Bank, but it looked nothing like it. They just picked some bank and called it First World Bank. And they didn't even try to make use of their kick-ass music in that one singular heist they were showing. Come on, dude. That's like 90% of the reason people play Payday 2. There were characters that were incredibly crucial to the plot, but never made an appearance in the game. Greta the assassin, that seemed to be very close to Gage, was cut from the game. And this woman, named Agent Griffin, was literally uncovering the truth behind CrimeNet. But they didn't really go anywhere with that either. And you know what? That's okay. The entire web series was nothing but promotional material to get gamers to play Payday 2. So it's obvious they didn't really give a shit. Despite all of these downsides, it got people to want a live-action series or movie made professionally with higher budget. And I can clearly see why the player base of Payday believes that their medic bag waifu needs a respectful live-action adaptation. In my opinion, the Payday gang members, despite being the goofiest heisters you'd ever see, and I mean Dallas literally buying a yacht and naming it fucking medic bag goofy level, have an incredibly high potential to be included in a serious plotline. They are incredibly underused and unexplored when you realize how well they fit in a dark tale about the criminal lifestyle, rather than the ancient lore of the existence of humanity. Please don't pull off the same shit with Payday 3. There's really no need to add supernatural elements to the lore of an already interesting, well, quote-unquote realistic journey. There's 22 of these fuckers. Some of them have their own story, like John Wick, Bodhi, Jimmy, Jacket, or fucking Scarface, which I don't even know what the hell he's doing here. Let's overlook these crossover additions and talk about an original character. I'm going to go with an all-time favorite, Nathan Steele, aka Dallas. Trust me, there's more to this character than funny medic bag man. In his younger days, Dallas was part of a Chicago mob, eventually climbing up the ladder and going from a club bouncer to a professional hitman. In his 30s, it was either his ego or his search for a way out that resulted in him turning two Chicago mobs against each other, resulting in a literal gang war. Shortly after, Dallas went underground to survive the hit placed on him by the said mobs. He started his very own underground business as an arms dealer, and eventually after 10 years of hiding, he had a midlife crisis of what the hell am I doing with my life? So he stole a shipment of weapons and assembled his own crew. Dallas is the only member of the Payday gang that actually thinks. He's always on edge and tries to keep the profile of him and his gang as low as possible. And most importantly, man's got mad riz. Despite being a professional in his line of work, it's obvious he regrets his life choices. Perhaps he wishes he never chose a life of crime. And it seems like whenever he wants to make it out, he always gets dragged back into the game by some bigger fish. Kinda like John Wick. Despite his actions showing that he is trying to wrap everything up and find the exit, he knows better than everyone else that this is what he does the best. Crime is what he was born to do. He may not like it, but he's very good at it. I don't know about you, but even if I wasn't a Payday player, following the journey of Dallas would be pretty interesting to me.
Grenade!
The tale of a criminal who wants to stop but can't find an alternative. Guys, I'm beginning to think that Dallas might be literally me. Aside from me wanting to see these characters put to good use, I would also love to actually see them. You probably don't know what I'm talking about, so let me clarify myself. Payday is one of the few titles that still hasn't ditched the live-action promotion format entirely. In fact, it embraces it. I find this extremely cool, but this parallel between live-action and video game has caused a lot of problems, which I'm going to address so that the production team might come across this video and not pull the same shit again. Overkill was very strict on the game characters looking exactly like their representers, so when the actors for the original 4 characters changed, their game counterpart also changed, which was quite immersive breaking. It was okay with me, but I know that the community didn't take it well, which is the entire reason we got 58 additional heists and the character Houston as a whole. Moreover, a lot of Payday gang members don't have a live action counterpart. Clover, Jiro, Sydney, Bonnie, no one cares about you anyway. Joy, Duke, Sungrace, and Jacket only exist within the game boundaries. They were eventually kind of shown in the bad ending of Payday 2. Pretty sure this is Sydney. My own conclusion is that basically these characters were designed completely artificially and weren't based on a real actor, so when the devs decided to portray them in live action, they ran into a bit of a trouble finding actors that resembled them. So we just never got to see their faces in real life. As someone who likes to play Sydney because of her interesting personality, I personally would love to see each and every artificial character like her in real life. It would make it a lot easier for me to see this crew as one whole picture instead of some of them being purely artificial. Of course, all of these characters are now gone, and I hope they stay gone because we already made the ending of Payday 2 pointless by bringing back the original crew again, and if the rest come back too, it will make the ending even more pointless. But since I'm positive that Payday 3 will include new faces, I would love to this time actually see every single one of them on tape. Honestly, after the incidents, this show owes it to the fanbase of Overkill to be good, and it has the potential. The only way things could go south would be if the production team made some bad choices. Stockholm Syndrome, the company in charge of producing the upcoming live action, doesn't have much, if any, history. I did search to see if they had made anything of note before, but all that comes up is movies about Stockholm Syndrome. What makes the situation even worse is that we know absolutely nothing about this show. Just like Payday 3, they made an announcement and then went dark again. That's why I waited so long to make this video. I expected some news to be eventually released regarding the show, but nothing. Just put the doubts aside and imagine how good this could be if it's executed well. I really love to see a suit up scene of Payday gang with Gage or their new arms dealer like the one in John Wick 2. Oh, speaking of Wick, he really puts the show in a tight spot.
First of all, hopefully, you've finished a great job, you've done some great work, you're coming home, you see some friends and family, hopefully you're in a relationship, you have some morning sex, eat a great breakfast, go for a motorcycle ride, come back, swim, have more sex, eat some more, hang out for a little bit, maybe do some reading, you know, go see a movie, have more sex.
He's now officially part of the Payday lore. And he's also in New York, the same city Payday 3 will take place. It would be such a waste if they don't include him in the show at all. And since I'm pretty sure they can't afford Keanu Reeves, picking another actor to represent him or use a voice impressionist just like they did with the original trailer would come with its own share of backlashes, so I'm not really sure how Starbreeze is going to get around this one. Like I said in my older video about Payday 3, this is the only chance for Starbreeze to redeem itself. They took a bunch of other titles that didn't really form a player base to disappoint, but Payday, you don't want to mess with the Payday players. It honestly shouldn't be that hard to satisfy Payday fans. Just be faithful to the game like those shows that inspired you. Give us a series that shows more of the actual game heists in both stealth and loud, some character development, an interesting plotline that fits the universe, and we'll be all set. After all, how could they mess this up? It's Payday!